Yay, it is body time. So, welcome everybody to Consciousness Anywhere, and I am Shannon, and today I have the extreme gift of being joined by one of my most beautiful friends, Suzy Godsey.
Thank you so much for having me today, Shannon. I'm really excited to be here.
So, Suzy facilitates one of the Access Consciousness bodywork modalities, which is called, for short, it's ESSE, and for long, what does ESSE stand for?
Energetic synthesis of structural embodiment.
And Suzy is sort of like this all-around amazing person. If you ask anybody, Suzy pretty much wins the nicest, most amazing award for a person on planet Earth. So it's like, and so I'm so excited today. Suzy and I have really an amazing Access Consciousness body event planned for the end of the year in Bali, and I thought, what a great platform to get to actually now talk about the Access Consciousness bodywork modalities.
Yes, I mean, to me, this is one of the things, Shannon, of course, you were my very first facilitator. I got introduced to Access by you, and my very first personal session was with you before I even had anything else. And
Right.
So once I got introduced to Access and realized, like, wow, this is the kind of stuff that blows away things that I had been working on in therapy for so many years and didn't budge. And so I got really intrigued by the tools. And then when I had my first classes and there, I realized also there was body work, I became really a bodywork junkie. And it was really interesting because I was really sick a lot. And it's funny because right now I'm having a little bit of something going on, but I'm usually not sick anymore.
Yeah.
And the bodywork has really changed me so dynamically. And again, this is one of those areas where Access is the only modality that I know of that gives the body sort of a different way of being without telling it what it needs to be. Like, I can't really describe it very well, and yet it's allowing the body to fully show its potential without really defining what that is.
Right. So tell us a little bit about Essie.
Yeah, so Essie really came about when I started working actually on your dad, on Gary Douglas, randomly. Really, I was doing the audio for Access for a while, and we were in Australia in Perth, and we were riding back together in a taxi cab to the hotel that we were all staying in, and all I wanted to do was put my hands on Gary's neck to work on his neck.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, that feels so nice, can we continue? And I said, sure. So we put up a massage table in his room, and I started working on his body with what we had no name for at the time, but it was Essie. And so he said the next day, hey, can I have this again? And then the next day he said, can I have this again? And then Dane said, what about me? And so this is how it all got started.
Yeah.
And I started working on them a lot, really. And it was a long time before we even defined a name for it or found a name for it, really.
The thing that's really interesting to me about ESSE, ESSE, energetic synthesis of structural embodiment, is one of the Access bodywork modalities, and you facilitate and teach classes in it and stuff. And the thing that's what I've really noticed is like ESSE has a very specific energy. I was one of those people who grew up in a household of homeopathy and Rolfing and craniosacral and psychics and all sorts. I grew up in that sort of a household, and so I really grew up with a lot of when I was in pain, my parents would take me to the homeopath or to the Rolfer or to the chiropractor or to the acupuncturist or so I have a lot of experience with body work in my body, and I can tell the difference between craniosacral, and I can feel the difference between network chiropractic, and I can feel the difference in the ESSE body work as well. And it is such a specific energy that when I had a few months ago, I remember I was doing a bar swap with somebody, and she has done an ESSE class with you in Australia, and she started, I asked her if she'd rub my feet, and it was just like, will you rub my feet? It wasn't, will you do ESSE? And as soon as she touched my feet, I could identify the ESSE energy. So it is this very specific expression of energy in the body that I'm so excited that we get to play with And can you tell us what you've seen change with Essie, or what is like what's possible with Essie? What is Essie creating, and what would you like to see happening with bodies?
Wow. Well, what I would love to see with bodies really is for us to recognize that our body is not a hindrance. And in
Wow.
so many.
Can we just repeat that?
Yeah.
Can we just say that one more time? The body is not a hindrance. Wow. So how many of you guys out there listening to this right now, it's like, how much has your life with your body been that the body has been the hindrance, you know? So how does Essie address that?
Well, for Essie plays with the molecules in a way that allows the body to let go of whatever has been projected as a judgment that basically potentially glued the body into a certain position.
Right. And so we have to talk about, like, in Access, that we talk a lot about how your point of view creates your reality. So we're not approaching the body as something that's broken or something that's wrong. And something actually that you said to me before we even started this podcast, Suzy came over and I was chatting to her, and I was throwing out some ideas that I had for ideas and titles of what we'd call this. And we started talking about the Access bodywork, and I was like, so what is, and you stated, you were like, there's really nothing wrong with the body. It's our points of view and stuff that tend to show up in our bodies. And I mean, how different is that as a point of view in the world that there isn't, it's like, and how much of medicine today is treating the problem in the body rather than addressing the point of view that might be creating the problem in the body?
Yeah. Because to me, bodies don't have a problem in a way. Like, bodies are not creating problems.
Can we just, sorry, I want to take a few steps back with that one. Okay, so bodies aren't creating problems. So I'm gonna be the anchor, the news reporter skeptic, the common skeptic. So then, why is stuff showing up in the body as problems?
Well, for me, it is really that we as beings have so much, or also our bodies have so much projected at us, whether it is from society, from this reality, from our parents, from our friends, whatever it might be. We get things that we are constantly receiving projections. And if we are not recognizing them as such, but we are buying them as true and real, in that moment, we're also in our bodies contracting.
If we're buying them as real and true, right.
So our body starts to actually change. And now science even says that when your cell is well, it's basically a sphere. And when your cell has stuff going on, it becomes elliptical. And we know there's so much proof now that really even thoughts can change molecules. Like, if you are familiar with the Emoto water photography, where it's really been now shown that certain vibrations, whether it's a thought, whether it's words, whether it's music, change the molecules of the water. Well, our body is a lot of water. So what if also we are constantly, by receiving, projections, thoughts that are being put on us, our water molecules are also shifting and changing with that, and also the way that we are then seeing ourselves. And how many people out there really love their body?
Yeah, I mean, and that's such a, I think, such a tough question. It's a sort of like the brutal truth kind of question. How many people out there really love their body? Like, I have gotten to like my body so much more through the Access bodywork. And when I say Access bodywork, I mean Essie, and I also mean the hands-on Access body processes, which is a different class. And it's like, as a kid, I had total fun with my body. I was just running around and happy all the time. And then, I got older and there was a lot less joy with the body and a lot more hating of my body, but also a lot more awareness of how everyone else hated their bodies. And it wasn't really okay to have this blissful body, because when I was blissful, everyone either wanted to rape it, take it, kill it, mount it, have it, hump it, something, something, something. And that became this very like, okay, so that isn't an energy I know how to deal with in the world. And so then the body, unfortunately, takes a brunt of that shutdown. Okay, the body must be the problem. Body don't be that energy. Body don't be happy. And so through, and then how many lifetimes of physical abuse, psychological abuse, weird shit that we do in experimentations, so on and so forth, and all of that the body remembers. And that's what the Access bodywork starts to unlock, clear, and all of a sudden you've got this communication and connection with the body that, number one, is totally not, like, most people have no clue what their body's saying, let alone want to even listen to what the body's saying, even when you take it down to listening. How many of you guys out there right now have functioned from, like, for example, with food, what is the right thing to eat or what you should eat, rather than what your body's telling you it needs to ingest to make it as great as it can be? So it's just a really different point of view. And yeah, back to your question about like how many people out there really love their bodies, and I'm guilty of that as well,
Oh, I think we all are, because it hasn't really been something also that has been promoted as like we're taught to judge our bodies really from the beginning. And I remember even as a little kid judging my body for being female. And I don't know where that came from. I mean, it was probably not my point of view even, but it could be my parents wanted a boy. I mean, they don't admit that. I'm just saying, like, it's the weirdest thing. You never know.
So let's do this. So all of the judgments and the points of view that you guys have about your bodies, or that you bought about your bodies from others, can we destroy and create all that, please?
Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
And obviously this conversation about bodies is so huge, and it's like, you were just touching the tip of the iceberg, and I love that we get to, I love that we get to, number one, well, I'll speak for myself. I love that I no longer have to feel helpless, hopeless, and completely clueless about how to heal, how to help my body. It's like I've had sicknesses in my body. I've had lots of pains with my body, and I'm sure everyone out there listening can relate. And it's like, I have seen miracles change with bodies and people. And it's like, the more conscious the being gets, the easier it is to access the body.
Yeah. And, and really going back to where we started in a way, like the question of, or we said like, hey, the body actually doesn't have a problem, sort of looking back at that now after our conversation. So what if you actually were aware that whatever is going on in your body is not about the body having a problem, but really more looking at, okay, so what is going on here that is creating this in my body? So not really looking at, oh, the body is creating this and now I have a problem, but what is...
Yeah, and one of the questions that I use for that, and one of the questions that I facilitate with that is like, okay, so like when you have a problem, quote unquote, in the body, where like when my body has a big problem or a little problem, whatever it is, I always am asking the body, okay, body, what are you telling me? Mm-hmm. And what are you aware of that I'm not acknowledging?
Yeah.
And to give an example of that, body, what are you telling me? Body, what are you aware of that I'm not acknowledging? It's like, even just this morning, I was out for a walk in the park. We're in Rome right now at the Big Access Consciousness Certified Facilitators class here in Rome. And there's a beautiful Villa Borghese Park is out across the street from the hotel. So I was out this morning for a walk, and I was out with my husband, and he wanted to run. So I was like, you go on ahead, because I did not want to run. So he runs off, and I decided to turn around and come back to the hotel and have some tea and stuff before we meet up. And I turn around, and there's this dog, like a breed of something. He's a big guy. And as soon as I saw him, my whole heart expanded. It was like, hello. But then the man that was with him, then I became aware of him. And instantly my heart in my chest started hurting. And it's a sensation that I'm familiar with, that I used to say, oh, my heart is hurting, or ouch. But through asking that question, body, what are you telling me? Body, what are you aware of? Since I've asked that question so many times throughout the years, what I actually started becoming aware of when my body started doing that was it was showing me that it was actually indicating another body that was around my body that was actually having a heart problem. And so it flashed really quick. It was like instantly my heart went crunk. But I'm so familiar with that sensation now that I went, oh wow, okay, that guy's having a heart problem. And as soon as I acknowledged it, my body felt better and I just walked on. So now it's this very quick awareness, whereas it took me years of actually even believing that my body could be that aware and be even giving me that information. Because like, on what planet does your body give you information about another body on the other side of the park? You know, it's like, do bodies communicate? Science tells us they actually do. And so how much of the sensations, the sicknesses, the experiences that you're having with your body now are your body giving you information about other people's bodies? Mm-hmm. And that's some of the stuff, that's some of the difference in the perspective of the Access bodywork, which is, and I think Suzy, you state that really perfectly, is there's nothing wrong with the body. Okay, so now, how do we become aware, or what is this awareness that the body's expressing? And what if the sickness was never a problem? What if the sickness was always the body giving you information about something that you needed to be more aware of? And everything that brings up. That's the story to grade it.
Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine, shorts, boys, and meons. And I think you said that beautifully, Shannon, in a way that we don't believe that our body could even be that aware. You know, this is not something that
it's almost like this thing of like, do we even believe in awareness? You
Exactly.
know, it's like awareness, period, let alone awareness of the body. It's like awareness is something that's considered like witchcraft or weird or creepy, or like, you know, how many of us are really raised with awareness versus how many of us are raised with like, don't be aware because it's dangerous or not safe, or you're wrong, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what I have come up with in my own personal growth and reaching for consciousness, and also facilitating consciousness in all my classes and in all my work. It's that like it becomes this incredible adventure of now, okay, so if awareness is real, how will that revolutionize your life?
Totally. Yeah, and if you really grasp that,
it changes the ball game completely.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
now it's maybe the moment to say stop again, right? What did you just say? Yeah, it's incredible actually when we start to embrace that in a different way. It's just yeah. I mean,
so let's talk a little bit about how we, if we can even, it's like, because now I'm going to be full disclosure, I've actually not been to an ESSE class. However, I have received tons of ESSE from you, and I have been around it a lot, and I just haven't been to a class. You and I are doing something that is already extremely popular. I know we hit the right button because we put this class on the calendar, and with literally 2 Facebook posts, we had 55 registrations. So we're doing what we're calling a 7-day body access consciousness body immersion class in Bali, Indonesia, in December. That's going to be a combination of an access consciousness 3-day body class, which I'll be facilitating, and an ESSE class.
An ESSE class that is the 2.5-day body class. So we have ESSE for bodies, we have ESSE for horses.
Yeah.
And we have the combination of that, but this one here in Bali will be the 2-day
people bodies
class. Exactly.
People bodies, and amazing access facelift class right in the middle that we're going to facilitate together.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. This is a first for me, and it's like
and it's 7 days.
And it's 7 days.
It's 7 days.
So it becomes a real commitment to, and I love that we're doing it in Bali too, because if you've been to Bali, you already know what a dynamic body experience Bali is. And it's like, I'm really grateful because certain places on the earth will get you into your body in a really amazing way. And so I chose Bali, number 1, because I love it. But number 2, I kept on wondering, where do we do this? Like, where will support this? So we're doing it in Bali, and so that's that. So if you want to join us, you got to act fast, because I think we have 95 spaces and we're already more than half full, and we're in March, you know.
Yeah. Well, also let's talk about the prereqs real quick because it's basically because it's really three access body classes. We are giving you certificates for each one, and also for that we have to make sure you are aware that this class has a prerequisite. So the body, basically for the 3-day body class, you have to be.
It's access bars and access foundation.
Yeah.
It's actually not a lot of prerequisites,
No.
you know? So that's for the body class.
Yeah, and Essie doesn't have any prereqs. So
and I don't think the facelift class does either.
No.
So now, however, if you come, there will be bars and foundation as a prerequisite for this class. So it's actually pretty easy for people to reach for.
Yeah.
So what are some of the cool things that you've seen with the Essie work?
Wow. I have literally like had people in class working on each other with the Essie work, and mind you, like people that have not been trained in any kind of body work. So you don't
Right.
have to be a body worker to do Essie.
And if you are already a body worker, this is an incredible addition to your tool bag.
Oh my goodness, yes. There's so many stories about that too. But I've had literally people say, I've been in pain for 20 years and this person touched me and I was out of pain. And I didn't dare to say anything because I thought the pain would come back the next day. And then they would come back the next day and say, well, the pain is still gone. And now I'm like really excited. So it's the energy. And like you said before, like you have a very distinct awareness of that energy. Yeah. And that is something that over the years of facilitating has really shown up more and more and more. And what has really also changed it for me recently was when Gary and Dane started talking about the elementals and engaging with the elementals. And that to me, for the first time, put sort of words to this in a way that I hadn't been able to verbalize before. And I think all of the access body work engages with the elementals in a certain way in the body. And so what we're really facilitating in those 7 days is just like really receiving your body in a different way. What if your body really became your friend? You know, what if it was no longer your foe and the thing that you had to fight, but really the thing you were going to work with, and that you were going to ask questions and you were going to listen to and have a totally different way of being. And yeah, just...
Well, and the thing that I love too is like, okay, we're talking about accessing the body. And I know for me personally, when I started turning towards my body, which is what I'll basically, how I interpret what you're saying about working with your body, like I started turning towards my body rather than away from my body, in terms of like being willing to actually sense my stomach, sense my genitals, sense the body. And it was like, I had so much stuff come up. There was so much like, I'm going to call it like emotional detoxing, but it was just sort of like anti-consciousness, unconsciousness, lifetimes of judgment, lifetimes of all sorts of just weird, crazy shit that people do with bodies. And it came up for me, and there were some points when I actually was in so much reaction to what was sort of detoxing from my body. And it wasn't even toxicity detoxing. It was like literally psychic toxicity and like anti-consciousness that was detoxing from my body systems. That there were points when I wanted to withdraw from that change because it was too confronting for me. But the thing that I love is that we actually have the tools and the processes to handle it. So it's not like we're just saying like, now love your body. Now, good luck. You know, we're actually, the processes of access are so dynamic and so effective that it clears the megatons of shit that you've psychically accumulated, physiologically accumulated, that from not loving the body, or from lifetime after lifetime of the body being the villain or the problem or the victim of our, you know, the sacrificial lamb for whatever. I mean, and this, all those, you know, how many of you guys have seen all those lifetimes and weird things that we've done with bodies? And the body can be pleasure and the body can be pain. Now what's possible?
Exactly.
So it's like everything that's coming up for your body as you're listening for this right now, it's like, relax and release. And what if your body actually knows how to change and how to be itself in ways that you can't control, but you could receive. So everything that doesn't allow you to receive what your body knows, will you destroy and create all that?
Right and wrong, good and bad, fun and fuck all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
And could you imagine a planet, a world full of happy bodies?
Oh, goodness, yes. I mean, that, yes.
So that's my inspiration. And even yesterday you came over, we're in class here in Rome, so we're mostly quite occupied with stuff. And yesterday you came over in the afternoon and you came behind me and you just gave me this incredible hug. My whole body completely released. It was like, and my body was happy. And I noticed that now. It's like my body was actually giving me information like, yay, I like this, So it's just this like, and I look at all the time, it's like, and the Access 3-day body class. So quickly, we've talked about Essie, and then we have the Access 3-day body class, which I facilitate, and a ton of other incredible Access consciousness facilitators are facilitating around the planet. And it's as complicated as you laying down on a massage table and being touched, and also, having a partner for 3 days. And we run the Access body processes. And there's a lot of them, and they're very ranging, and they're weirdly effective in ways that you can never explain until you experience them.
Yeah.
I've had experiences of receiving Access bodywork and getting up and like the whole world looks different, and I went, was this here the whole time and I never noticed,
Totally.
So, and it really what became like an aha moment for me with the Access bodywork is like I started realizing that you actually can access greater consciousness, or you must access the body to really fully have consciousness, which is so against what we've been taught in so many lifetimes in religions and cults. And I mean, I don't want to bring religions and cults into the conversation, but I think when we're talking about bodies, we kind of have to address that. It's like getting rid of the body is the gateway to freedom, not accessing the body more. So, and I tried to get rid of my body for so much of my life, I hated my body and it was just difficult. And then I got the Access bodywork and it was like, whoa, okay, my body's actually a gift. This is fun. This is different. This feels good. And then I had to move through all the judgments that come up when you enjoy a body and body pleasure. Because face it, society is not super supportive of body pleasure, It's like, in fact, it's like we have our greatest example of body pleasure is pornography, which isn't body pleasure at all. It's like body torture.
Yeah.
So it's like, welcome to planet Earth. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, have a body. So with the Access body processes, there's an incredible accessing of the body in a way that I didn't actually have a reference point before I received the body work. Mm-hmm. So we invite you to come try this, and that's it. It's like, it's available. Do you want it? Please check us out. It's like, we look forward to those of you that we're going to see in Bali. It is going to be a party. Like the venue, the property that we're going to be on it's literally a magical fairy kingdom, the room that we're going to be in the stage has a huge dragon carved around it, so it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be dynamic. There's people registered literally from, I think, every country in the world. It is such a diverse diverse group of people reaching for this. And if you aren't joining us in Bali, check out the Access bodywork. It's like, check out Essie. There are a lot of people out there facilitating the 3-day body classes, and doing amazing things. Wherever you are, there will usually be somebody around you offering the 3-day body class.
Yeah, and also the bars, let's not forget the bars, because
good point.
They are such a contribution to the body as well.
And the bars is the original body process.
Yeah, and it really also creates that sense of peace in your body. People always say, hey, a bar session could either change your life or you're gonna at least have a sense of having received a good massage.
Yeah.
Which is actually rare, unfortunately, but, so there's so much that gets dissipated when you're receiving bars that has to do with the judgment also of bodies, that the body can actually relax. And that in itself is a tremendous body process, even though we're not really touching anything but the head. And so it's a fascinating part of this body work body. So yeah. So yeah, I mean all of the access body stuff is incredible. And again, for this modality to really include the body in the consciousness part, whereas so many other modalities will want you to drop the body so you can have consciousness. In Access, we're really saying, no, your body is coming along for the ride. Your body is part of consciousness, and you and your body can create something incredible if you're willing to receive your body, if you're willing to have your body, and if you're willing to be friends with your body, basically. So that's really what we're aiming for also. Or I mean, I don't even know what we're aiming for. This is gonna be
all we know is we like this.
Yes.
It works for us, and we invite you to find out what's possible. If you're listening to this, it's like, go find a bars class, get some Access body work. It's like you can't really understand it until you experience it. Sort of like you can't really understand what the color yellow is until you actually see it. So whatever you're doing out there, what if you could relax into your body just a bit more now? Okay? We love you. We'll see you out there. Okay?
Thank you so much for
Bye.
listening. Bye.